It'll be a nightmare because we've already
No, I've got it
started.
muted. I've got it muted. So
Oh, beautiful.
I've got Twitch muted. Yeah,
The
I've learned.
man, the username unknown who knows when to turn off and on the web browser. He knows when I'm playing Google Chrome via Discord. Uh, if only he had more enigmas to wrap his persona and character around, we could all think about him a lot more than we already do. This is Grounded with Dilly Dave, and I'm so happy to present to you all Jason, aka username unknown. Unknown, not alone.
Oh, I thought you said on loan. I'm like, well, for the right
Using
price.
username alone. How we
Or
feeling?
unknown.
How we feeling on your end of the digital line?
On the digital line, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's been a nice day, nice weather. Just just
Is that the only thing
wake up.
that dictates your moods and where your
No, I
emotions are
mean,
at?
no, I don't know. Just if something's feeling good in the day, I just tend not to question it. You just sort of
Mm.
go. You start if you go, why am I in such a good mood? Then you sort of do a 180, and you're like, okay, well maybe I shouldn't be. I've just learned to, okay, if I'm feeling whatever, if I'm feeling not sad, I'm just like, I'm not going to question it. I'm just, it could be the sun, it could be whatever, it could be the weather, it could be something, but who cares? I'm just going to enjoy it.
I mean,
So
who's out here trying to rationalize a good feeling? I mean,
exactly.
way to kill the mood, right?
So I'm going to dissect this and do make a pie chart or use Pythagoras' theorem on the angle of my happiness. So
On this particular day, I felt a peak or a spike in overall positive emotion, and I attribute that to not only the light rainfall, but actually more of an alignment of where I was aiming and my action and behavior in the world. And it was just, and then I mean, the moment's gone, and then
exactly.
all the viewers have gone, and it's a terrible
I mean,
moment.
you had me wrapped up. I was like totally on board with what you're saying. I'm like,
I
what, what
was
what's he going to say? What's the equation? And I can maybe just use that every day.
You're hanging out for the equation. I'm hanging out for the feeling, man. I'm more into the ineffable, the
Yeah,
unspeakable.
definitely. Yeah,
But in saying that, a good way for us to get grounded on this day is to acknowledge the sacred ground that we are streaming, recording, and going live on. So I believe on our ends currently, it's the Boonerang and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. They were the traditional custodians of this land, not owners. So I'd like to acknowledge that and that sovereignty was never ceded of these lands, and to pay respects to elders, past, present, emerging, and yeah, just share my gratitude for sharing this space with you today, Jason.
thank you.
Anything that you
I
would
mean,
like to tag
I'm
on?
just gonna shout out what I do now is because I'm originally from Tassie, so
Mm-hmm.
we acknowledge the Niuani people of the Palawa Nation. So that's you know, just adding on to yours to
Beautiful.
your acknowledgement.
I opened it up
So
for the tag and we did it. So appreciate you joining in on that. So, I liked what you were saying before that in the sense of, not questioning the good feeling. And I feel it's a great way to get grounded, to kind of be aware of something that's good and then like not try and justify it. Sometimes the why is better left unknown. Not always, though.
always, but you kind of, I guess you kind of learn or acknowledge when not to acknowledge things. You sort of
Yes.
you just go, well, because I think it's important to acknowledge or try to when things aren't as good as they could be, because usually there's a catalyst for that. Usually, not always. There's obviously just days where you like wake up and you're like, you know what? No, no, just no. Today, no. Tomorrow, yes. But sometimes, but if you're feeling good, the more you question it, the more you're gonna, to me, ruin what there's more chance of ruining something that doesn't need ruining. Like,
Okay, just on that, Jason, do you think
mhm,
that's the curse of the nihilist? The questioning of what is good endlessly?
interesting. Um, Actually, it's really interesting you asked that because just writing something, and I've literally used that word nihilist, and I was googling it this morning. Um, yeah, that's a good question actually. Sort of, I guess so. Like, yeah, well, nihilism is kind of, yeah, you know, to me, I wouldn't. I'll say I'm quite nihilistic. That's a word now,
Yeah,
but yeah. So
you're a
like,
nihilist in a way.
yeah, a
Oh,
lot of
no, nihilistic is fine.
yeah. I subscribe to the nihil. No, anyway, I should stop rhyming. But yeah, it's kind of. I guess if you don't question things, it's kind of is that nihilism. Even if you are feeling happy, it's sort of if nothing matters, then sort of why question anything? But
Right.
then I do, but
Because
then I do question some things. So it's sort of
because the question is, what is the meaning, right? Because if there's no
mm,
meaning behind the thing, and the meaning sometimes can be like this thing that's in the background that is more of a feeling or something more subconscious than like what's happening right there in the moment. But
yeah,
yeah, if you don't have like a connection to the meaning, I guess the whole idea of being a nihilist is the lack of meaning, the lack of reason or why for doing anything or acting in the world. Therefore, there's like
yeah.
this disconnect or detachment, and it manifests in many
There's
different
yeah,
ways. And there's
yeah.
levels of it too, right? Like you can be a part time or a casual nihilist. That could be part of your perspective.
A weekend nihilist. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. After you got
yeah.
broken up with or whatever.
I'm a nihilist 6 months of the year, and then the other six is
Hibernation nihilist.
nihilistic hibernation. There we go.
The flip is better. I think the flip is better.
Oh, it's on the internet now. I copyright that
Okay.
username and I
It's on
used it
your end.
first.
Put it down. Stamp it.
No, but it's interesting, yeah, because I think I question a lot more if I'm in that sort of down melancholic kind of mood. I question like why, what's going on. But if it's a true, to me, if it's true, a true nihilist, like oh well, it doesn't really matter why. Like it is just what it is. So I question
Hmm.
that, but I don't question the other side of the coin. So I guess I
Hmm.
really can't call myself a purist of uh, follower of nihilism, but
Right.
I don't know.
You
Yeah,
dabble.
it's a
I dabble.
I dabble. Yeah, because it's also has connotations of high levels of pessimism, which I've been known to have.
Quite partial to you
So
are.
yeah, if anyone's met me, so I can ruin any good dinner party. But yeah, having I guess being so pessimistic, but then not finding the pessimism in feeling good. So
Hmm.
you just enjoy it, and you're not going to allow the pessimism to infect the good days,
Right,
if you
right.
want to put it that way.
Amelia's just piping in. Hey, Amelia, how you going? She's asking, what are you
Hello.
guys talking about? And I guess what we're talking about um, is looking too far into justifying a good feeling or happiness, the curse of the nihilist, because they're looking for the meaning, and because there's like this lack of meaning in terms of from a nihilistic perspective, you know, what's the point in what's the point in going out and acting in the world, because there's no God or higher being or like higher purpose. So yeah, that's kind of what we're exploring right now, and I guess we've both come to the perspective where we dabble in nihilism, and I guess being pessimistic as well, but both in nihilism too, because that is something that's on the mind. The question is like, why is there meaning, and what is the meaning? I guess that's what we try and do with art all the time. It's like, meaning, where is it? How is it? This isn't it. No, this is it.
Yeah, when you mix nihilism with artistry, it's quite
Mm,
interesting. Um,
agreed. Profound statement, perhaps.
or maybe I don't know. It's up to other people. I just say words and let reactions manifest.
Oh, I just say words and let reactions manifest. Are you barring
No,
out?
that, I haven't written that at all to repeat that. But
I can just
that,
imagine what's happening behind your setup is just like this massive page of like all these one line golden, things that you can just be like,
well,
bam, there it
well,
is.
that's kind of what I do. I just think of a word and then go, okay, I like the sound of that word, and then try to make a song around it sometimes. So,
This
you
is
know,
interesting because this is a similar way that I approach speech. It's almost more like what sounds better than me actually trying to use things precisely as they should be.
Interesting. So what? Hold on. So
If I'm trying to
yeah.
explain something or talk or engage with somebody,
Okay.
I'm gonna try and connect some like flowy, multi-syllable kind of things that match up in a particular way. And maybe it's alliteration, maybe it's rhyme, maybe it's these other things, these other like mechanisms to make it to dress it
In
up
general conversation, like
in general
in just
conversation.
okay.
But
Um,
more so if I'm trying to, you know, get into it, if you know what I mean. Like not
interesting.
passing, just fucking picking up a can of solo at the dairy or whatever, but you know.
I mean, I think it's seems like a good practice because you're you're helping your artistry as well. But to me, you're occupying your brain in a way that's still you're kind of making the most of the situation in general. So it's you're
Mm,
kind of just using the brain power. I mean that to me that's the reason I enjoy writing either is it raps or poetry.
right.
Is I was just talking about the other day. It's like I do it I do it because it occupies a massive chunk in my brain that I enjoy and I can go this feels really good.
Yeah, you
You
kind of
know,
you're putting your head to work a bit.
exactly. You're going okay, trying to sometimes Frankenstein words together or bars and trying to figure out something, and then which well, when you do it in like general conversation is I think kind of healthy thing. I find that I rhyme a lot if I'm having a disagreement or something with someone. I randomly
Mm,
start rhyming words and then I
mm.
can't help but notice and I start laughing and a lot of the times it diffuses the whole situation because I'm annoyed and I'm just like I know I'm rhyming. I'm trying not to, and I'm trying to be serious, but I can't stop rhyming what I'm
What
trying
do
to
you what
say.
what do you think that is? What do you think that is like the connection between, your rhyming, your artistry? And for me, the purpose of doing that in conversation is to help other people and myself enjoy that moment because I think speech is fun and
Okay.
you can really use it to engage with people. But yeah, when you arc up and then like your kind of artistry in terms of how you express yourself rhyming or poetically, like what do you think that merging is?
I,
If it's anything, who
I, I
knows?
I think for me, so um, for me, like when I do with poetry and and rap, writing anything, to me, that's the best way I can express myself. And since I've been doing poetry, I've been doing it a lot longer than rapping. It mostly
Mm.
90% of it rhymed, and then I was dabbling in, more not non-rhymes every now and then, but most of it rhymed. I just couldn't help it. So to me, if I'm trying to think really cognitively, just rhyme. Then uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of my brain feels more comfortable rhyming. So I think maybe when it's really trying to get stuff out and trying to really think and get stuff out. I mean, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but
Well,
because
everyone's gonna engage with this in a different way, and
yeah,
example that just came into my mind super quickly is like somebody who engages with a lot of sport and like following support, following a team and the yelling and the encouragement behind that. I can imagine the way that they engage with maybe an argument with somebody is in that similar rah, 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 the loud noises over like this. I'm trying to like duck and weave with the thing that I want to present to you, and like this is important, so I'm really trying to do what I can to convey the whatever.
I mean, I was a sports ball player for a long time.
Right. Did you say a
Um,
sports ball?
ball player, yeah. I played sports ball. Go team. Uh,
You're a fucking genius, man. So
I,
funny.
I know the audience are watching. So um,
That really got me,
no, I
man.
played soccer,
Yeah.
football for
Yeah.
20 or so years.
Yeah,
So
right.
but I think I learned that to engage with people. I mean, I got to sort of change the way because I'm quite tall and stuff, and I've got a quite a loud
Mm.
voice in general. So I got to, for me, trying to find another avenue to discuss with people certain things because I mean, I don't, standing over people, looking them in the eyes, and be like, "Hello, how are you?" Like, kind of can be intimidating. So trying to
Yeah.
maybe
It's
finding ways
it's
to,
interesting that your
yeah.
actual physical presence came into that in terms of how you notice yourself being
Well, that come also for me working in disability with young people,
right.
especially young girls as eights and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and having to do personal care and whatnot,
Yeah.
and being from them having experienced certain things, you have to be as a male, you kind of have
Yeah.
to be very careful and notice your body, the fact that you were 4 times the height and the size of
Right.
this small
Body
person
language is everything
is
then.
exactly. So you kind of, I learned. I mean, I got in trouble at school for being tall because I was intimidating people and whatnot and troll stuff.
Mm.
It's sort of you kind of learn and yeah. So with you trying to make it in an engaging way and
You were just trying to
um,
navigate oh, so what did you say you were just doing before? What work was it?
disability support.
Yeah, so trying to
Yeah,
navigate that is
yeah.
I guess you're going to teach you many different ways of being able to convey yourself in a
It's just trying to
quite
make people as
accessible
comfortable as
way.
possible in
Right.
the
Comfortable.
space that you're in.
Mm.
And you learn that not everyone's going to be comfortable
Right.
in your space, and you have to
Right.
accept the fact that person A might be comfortable, and person B doesn't want a bar of you any way, shape, or form.
That's
And
actually
unfortunately,
that's
yeah,
a big social lesson in the
yeah. I
sense
mean,
of like
and I
you
think
can't
I
please
learned
everyone.
me personally, I learned that I've learned that the hard way
Right.
because for disclosure, I'm on the spectrum,
Yeah.
uh, so social cues growing up. I didn't know I got diagnosed at 24, but
It was a
still
different
now,
sports
like,
ball game, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a whole completely different sports ball game.
Mm.
But like not knowing the space you're in and the space you take up and the space that you're taking away from other people, I think is was still now is I'm always trying to if or when we were at gigs, we were
Mm.
able to go to gigs and stuff. Even talking to people that I know, I'd be very much we're trying to like sit down on a stool if I'm talking to someone who's half, half my height kind of thing.
Right.
But then
Right.
part of me would be like, should I be standing up? Because sitting down seems rude. But then I'm like, but I don't want to be like this down at them. And I was like, well, if I can sit down and be eye level, sort
Mm.
of. Um,
Also gives them an opportunity to sit down too, so it's kind of
this is very true.
logical.
Yeah. Very good.
Just quickly, shifting
Yes.
gears back,
Okay.
Amelia, who's still hanging out with us, she asks us, "Why don't you guys believe in a divine being? To me, it's an energy or force where God is the energy force of love." Um,
Oof.
I don't think I can't talk on your behalf. I feel like now I feel like now I'm closer to believing in God, a divine being, than ever, and I'm certainly open to it. I think at least I act as if like there is a God or a higher being. I don't really have like a prayer or practice or anything. But yeah, I like the way that Amelia kind of articulates it. An energy force of love is a quite an accessible way of thinking about the big God in a way. Jason,
Big God, the
wh-
big G.
what's your thoughts?
Well,
And I'm
I'm
not throwing a bloody an atheist under the bus or an agnostic under the bus or whatever. It's just
no.
let's
I
talk it
for
out.
me, for me, I grew up. I was born into a religious household.
Hmm.
I was brought up Christian till the age of 16, 17 was when I diverted away. But see, my experiences with higher powers and higher beings and the rhetoric I was given was always problematic. It always, to me, was um, it always hindered people from. Now I know it was hindering from people becoming someone like a better person or who they could be.
Self-realized.
Um, yeah. So like I went to my parents. We were a part of a church for a few years
Hmm.
who were I'd say one level below cult.
Yeah, right. There we go.
You
That's
know,
pretty up there. That's
so
commitment.
so so like I wasn't allowed to watch Shrek because it had a witch in it.
Oof.
I had a Tassie Devil puppet, hand puppet. My mum threw it away because it was the devil. That kind of thing.
Right.
I went to religious schools, and it was God above all else.
Mm.
You know, your image needs to be a certain way to uphold a presence to show that you respect God. Like I went to Christian schools that the image mattered more than the student themselves in my experience, and so
Yeah.
to me,
That could be said for a lot of schools, I guess, in a
yeah,
way.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
and then my thing now is why would my ultimate argument now is why would God give me a diagnosis that means that I prefer logic over anything else. Like,
Well, you
um,
believe in the spectrum of things. You believe in the spectrum of a spectrum of things in the sense of
yeah.
the scope
To
of
me, it's
things.
just like,
So my reflection on that would be our scope of understanding what is and could be isn't enough to wrap around and realize, the complete picture. And I feel like, the belief or the desire or the connection to the cosmos and higher beings in a number of different articulations has been happening for tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of years. And I think there's probably a reason behind that instead of just wishing upon a star and dreaming that there's something else aside from us.
you know, I can get on board with that. There's like to me I think there has to be something else out there. Like
Right.
it's just Earth is one thing. Like
It's
it's
magnificent, but even to know
but
that
like
something as magnificent as Earth can
but then
be,
then you go outside and then you meet people and you're like it's not that magnificent.
well,
So
you and I both
so
know that there are both magnificent and
yes, well,
mal
but yeah,
malev
so
what's the word for it?
Maleficent,
No,
Maleficent,
malevolent. No, fuck. Don't worry about it. Who cares? It's gone.
male violent. Is that it's spelled
Yeah,
male violent? Yeah.
there's
Uh,
magnificence and there's male violence, and that's the only two fucking ends of it.
well, I mean, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
A history is
But
war.
but yeah, I think for me, having there's a difference between believing in a cosmos of things and
Uh-huh.
of something out there than like there is one higher power, God, that
Mm-hmm.
created stuff, and I like I want to pray to this one person. Like I think for me is the biggest thing is praying to one thing and going, I'm going to pray or show my um my dedication to this divine being, and I'm going to get something back from it. I think I spent too long doing that, and I only went backwards from doing that.
Do you fuck with the
So
concept of karma then?
no, not really.
Okay.
I say karma sometimes. I say karma sometimes, but I really don't. I
What
really don't think it's a
what's
big
the
thing.
reason for treating people well in the world then when you can?
My my thing is, um, oh, it's my thing is if I treat everyone as a person and then I judge them on how they act after I meet them. So I go in if I've never met a person before, if I know nothing about them,
Yeah.
and whatever, I go hello. To me, it's like at a zero. It's at a base level. As a person is zero, and then I meet them, I talk to them, and then it goes up or down depending on
Okay.
what I agree or don't agree with them,
So it's
and then how they.
neutral and then it tips like too much order,
Yeah,
too much chaos,
exactly,
too much good, too much evil or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's just me. Is yeah, it's I don't as a like I see a person and they're a person, whatever, um, whoever they are, whatever they are.
Do you
That's not the
think
right term.
do you think the god or the religion works better as a story or symbolic as opposed to pure practical application and seeing what's in the world? Do you think that's where the merit of it lies? Because
Oh, that's a good question.
just keeping in mind that we've used mythology and story and
Hmm.
narrative to kind of give us indications of how to behave and act in the world.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think I don't know. Kind of. but if you look at like Christianity, say, like
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Christian school,
Yeah.
and then people are like, oh, and then but then Catholicism is different to Christianity. And
Uh-huh.
I went to a, you know, there's agnostic, not agnostic, Pentecostal, there's Lutheran. I went to a Dutch Reform school, which is
Do they
more,
have more in common than they don't have in common? Did these
yeah,
like
they have, see,
more
they
common
have
values
more
than
common. But then if you look at something like, uh, I mean, I'm gonna cut me off if I'm talking too much. But like if you
no,
look at
not at
someone
all.
like, if you look at someone like Hillsong,
Right.
they have a sort of more of a idea of prosperity doctrine, which means that if you got the more you have shows how much God loves you.
Okay, so there's
So
like
the
this
more
there's a material reflection or
yeah, and
attachment
there's
to that.
and coincidentally, there's a country's prime minister who's involved in this church. But
Right. So it's kind of
uh,
like that's kind of like the overlap of
it's yeah,
capitalism
if you
and
the more you have,
Christianity.
yes, the more you have. But then not all denominations believe that at all.
Right.
Like
Right.
there are other churches which is like, you know, come one, come all. There's some churches are like, no, we don't want homosexuals. Other churches are like, we don't give a fuck. As long as you're here
Yeah.
to worship Jesus, we love you. We want to accept you.
Mm-hmm.
Come in and do that. And so I think it's kind of hard to be like, okay, yes, Jesus is good, but then you're like, but which form, which church, like
Yeah.
which
And I guess that
um
that
uh,
argument kind of plays out into like, okay, well, if it is this God, then why this God over the other
yeah,
gods, right? Like, I
like
guess that's
why
yeah.
this theology in
But
particular over
doesn't the fact that everyone's believing in something indicate that there might be something, right? That's the way I look at
true.
it.
No, it's
And it's hard to
that's a good
dilute it
point.
into this thing that we use and express via language. You know, language is only one. It's only something that's like new for Homo sapiens or us or humans or whatever. Something that we've only been fucking with, I guess, for probably hundreds of thousands of years, or 100,000 or less years, and not in the written form and not English and etc. etc. So I don't know. There's a whole lot of things that have happened outside of language, I think, for eternity that have kind of hmm, because there's the everyday experience of life, and then there's the experience of life where it's mixed with any kind of like nootropic or psychedelic that kind of gives you other things to experience, and how that's been paired with these stories and narratives that are thousands of years of old. It's very interesting. Like, we can only perceive so much of the thing, especially if you're just operating in English or whatever.
Well,
Kind
that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, yes, we're talking very Anglo traditions,
mm-hmm.
very sort of um, you know, I obviously coming from Tassie and being in a smaller place in
There's some
Tassie,
of the newer
the
ideas that are out there.
there was a my school was 99% white, straight white people. Like it's sort of
Right.
and sort of so a lot of yeah Christianity, not not for everyone, but like Christianity is very much a to me more of a predominantly Anglo. Um, but I know that
It'd
there's a lot
be.
of
I would almost. I would dare you to look up some stats around that, and I might not
I was
be.
just about to say
Yeah.
I'm aware that there's a lot of
There's a lot of
countries in
landmass
Africa
that you be. That, yeah, you might
that
be.
have but I know I think what I'm talking about is my experiences with sort of the Anglo concept of
Yeah,
Christianity
and that
is
god.
and that kind of thing because I know there are interpretations and other theologies that I'm not aware of, privy
Right.
to experience. So this
Right.
is coming from that soul um,
Which could be an
angle.
indication that maybe it's not the best one to pick or something if you had to go
I
and
mean,
pick one.
I didn't really pick it. Up, sort of,
Well, yeah, that's
it
the other
picked
thing.
me, and then
I guess it's an interesting point, actually. Like, it's not often and not always that, religion picks people. Like, if you're brought up with it, you're brought up with it. And maybe you never have to or never want to or never need to operate outside of that. And that works and it just flows on in your life. But, some people arrive at it later at life, or they get knocked off it early in life.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've heard some stories from people from different. from Jehovah's Witnesses,
Right.
Mormons, Scientology and that kind of stuff. It's sort of everyone has positive and negative experiences. I've had far more negative experiences. I don't think I could really think of a positive experience that I've had through my beliefs when I was younger. All
Interesting.
the all the,
Yeah.
all the bad all the negative stuff that has affected me to be who I'm now came through a has some sort of religious aspect. It
What
was
would
either at
you
the it, yeah,
what
so
would you have liked to had added to the equation of your upbringing that you learned later in life that you would have really liked to have as a kid?
um I think just more. I mean, it's kind of hard because I said like um, a lot of the stuff I can attribute now to um, being on the spectrum, right? I was a pain in the ass as a kid, but
Mm-hmm.
there were reasons for some things, not all things. So I was a pain. I'm a pain in the ass now, and that's not all just because of the diagnosis. I'm just a pain in the ass.
Right.
But I think having because I went to a Christian school when I was in primary school for the first 3 years, and
I
I
went to
had
a
an
Christian
amazing
school all my life.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had an amazing teacher.
Right.
She knew exactly how to deal with me, and she just was like, okay, you're being annoyed. Okay, I dare you to write a 5-page story right now. I'm like, okay, cool. You dared me. I'll do it. Screw you. And so I did it. But she'd always do things to enhance me because I'm writing. I'm using my brain. And then she's like, okay, here's all the spelling mistakes. Go back and write it out correctly. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, fine. And then I moved to a different school, which was academia over anything and
Mm-hmm.
image and school and religion. And
Yeah.
so it was like, oh well, you were just a student. We're not going to help you in any way. If you can't do it this way, then tough luck. So
Mm.
I think I don't know for something growing up. I don't know, just have I don't know, just some sort of authoritarian person outside my parents at school or somewhere or at the church, just to be like, okay, I know he's
You mean
annoying.
authority, not authoritarian.
Yeah,
But
sorry,
yeah,
authority. Yeah.
it's all good. I
Um.
just don't want people to
Uh,
think that you you want an authoritarian outside of the
sorry.
parents and school
Um.
to
Yeah.
come
No,
and
I
help
would
you.
just.
But you're after like
Yeah, I want
another.
authority just to be like, okay, he's a pain, but let's put that annoyance into something and try to see what comes out of it.
So
Um,
it sounds like you kind of strive or learn a little bit from being in positions of resistance or intensity or
I said I work. I like to put myself under pressure in a way. I like
right.
to
Is it
see what
better if the
happens
pressure
to
is yours or somebody else's applied on you?
mine.
You
Mine.
your own applied pressure.
Yeah. I go, okay, well, I want to get this done, and which is then again, obviously, I'm not always great at keeping that pressure on myself because you know I'm a human,
Right.
but then again, I was always that stereotypical person, uni student, was like, okay, I'm going to leave my assignment to the last minute and get it done and sorted. But then I knew other people that did that got far better marks than me, so it was just, I don't know, just sort of, I
I
need
don't
to
know.
do
I
what
don't know
someone
where your
tells
marks
me.
were, but I could have been
Oh,
that
bad.
kid.
Please get degrees. Um,
That's it, man. Fucking C's to get degrees these days. I think D's get degrees these days, man. I think
I
that.
mean, I didn't finish uni, so I left. But
Oh yeah, probably a good decision to be honest. I think I learned a lot more from YouTube than university. Well, YouTube in the real world than university.
but a degree does look good on the wall.
It does. It's funny. That's why Mum puts them on her wall up in her house. The truth
I
of the
mean,
reality.
you can get fake ones made, can't
I guess so. All
you?
right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. So
Okay, switching.
you're an MC, and I guess in a way, kind of fresh to some of the traditional senses of MC in terms of being a show presenter and I guess a rapper and a wordsmith as well. Um, you've been dabbling, I believe, with the rap and the MCing over the past 2 years. Is kind of, and before that was more poetry. Is that right? Me saying, or were you kind of kicking on to the rap? You know,
I guess so. I actually it was only last night I realized I was just because when we had chats the other day on MQ stream about like the old stuff we did with Vibe Union, I was just going
yeah.
through and I was like, let's just go a bit of a nostalgia hit and sing kind of where I got onto the started doing the rapping stuff, and it
Yeah.
was my first my first ever attempt to do anything to a beat that anyone else saw other than me. Whatever was the Get Down challenges last,
Hey, there you go.
which
Shout out to Lee,
yeah,
aka
yeah,
Deets from the Get Down.
yeah, and yeah, MQ. I met him at volunteering, and I talked to him, and
Yeah.
he obviously got talked to me about Vibe Union, but he was we had a chat. We had a obviously COVID hit, and we all our volunteering stuff. We all had a Zoom meeting, and Mash was talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, it sounds all right." And then he tagged me and challenged me on Instagram. I'm like,
There you
"You
go.
prick, you
Got
absolute
him.
prick!" And so I was like, "Well, I got to do it." And that was in May last year. So that was the first time. May 2020 was probably, and I recorded something. It's a minute long, and I
Yeah.
just did what I did, and yeah, and I think that was I think that was the first time that I had done some kind of musical element to anything I've written.
All right. So
So
what
it's
was
been a
what
yeah.
was the lead up to you writing that verse and actually being in the state or the mood to go and write that verse?
I think um ooh, I still remember getting the notification and just going, oh, I have to write something now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just spent a few days. I had the beat, whatever beat it was, and I just had it over and over. And I think I may have just gone through some old lines that I've never used, or I may have used a couple of lines from previous poem because I'm like,
Yeah.
no one's going to know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not too sure, but I think I just wrote some stuff and went down the poetry route and sort of used that, but also made it fit to a beat because that's how I usually write half my poems anyway.
Yeah.
I have
Interesting.
had
To
I have
music
some,
to something.
well, it's usually some like chill lo-fi stuff. It's more of a
Yeah. Perfect.
less, it's more melodic stuff. But yeah, I
Just
just
sets
put
the
it on
mood.
and yeah, kind of, and then yeah, I think most of it was just original stuff and flowed on, and it was only a minute long, so I thought, well, it's not going to be that hard, and
Right.
yeah, just
There it is.
yeah,
I remember that. I remember seeing you pop up for the first time, being like,
yeah,
"Cool, this guy actually wants to write something that is in
yeah.
somewhat way meaningful or insightful or intellectual or kind of fucking reflective about his own personal experience, as opposed to
I do remember seeing. This was before I met Vibe Union or whatever. I
yeah,
saw a video of you, and I was like, "Why the fuck is he rapping in his car?" Like, and I was like, "He's got a mic in his car." I'm like, "Who the fuck is this?" And then it didn't click to me when I first met you. It didn't click that
that was
that
me.
was you. And then I posted a third video, and then I went back, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's Dilly." And I was like, "Okay, fair enough."
So we saw
So
each other for the first time through the Get Down event challenge.
we didn't even know.
That's cool as hell. That's a cool way to connect. And in all honesty, over the past, I guess that's like what, a year and 3 months or
Year,
so, nearly a year
year
and a
or
half.
something, yeah.
Man, you've grown so much in so many ways. I mean, mainly see you through the music lens, certainly initially, but more as like a through the friend and personal lens now. And but yeah, in terms of the music and the raps and all of these things, and I'm not the only one that notices this, but yeah, exceptional growth and a very very visible as well. Um, so I definitely want to tip the hat off to you on that, and then throw it back to you and be like, one, do you accept this? Acknowledge this, and you don't have to. And two, what do you kind of attribute that to?
I'll accept it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
I'm glad. I'm glad
Uh,
that worked out.
fuck you, Dilly.
Take it
No,
back.
I I think I know. So yeah, we're doing the get down challenges. I saw a lot of I saw a lot of people on there, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my own thing. Want to rap my own
Mm-hmm.
thing, or the way I do it, just do me. I'm like, cool. And I saw a lot of other stuff, and obviously me not knowing a lot about rap general, the culture, especially in Melbourne, and not knowing, I moved here, worked for a year, went to RMIT, studied, wasn't really going to gigs at all, and then met up with Vibe Union, and then COVID hit, so I wasn't really didn't know anyone, hadn't been to anything, didn't know the
Mm.
culture, and I was just seeing people do stuff, and I'm like, okay, some of it sounds good, some of it sounds like I've heard it all before,
Mm-hmm.
and then did some verses with Vibe Union, and was trying to. Some of that was uh, repurposed or sort of draft poetry stuff, and
Right.
that was kind of a comfort zone thing. And then obviously, changing up, doing new stuff, but then keeping that comfort zone, putting that into Vibe Union songs. And then when we were all allowed to meet up again, and then gigs were going to happen, and it was like, "Do you want to do a gig?" And I went, "Yes." And then I went, "Shit, I need songs." So I started writing,
Yeah.
and then I
You're putting
first of
together
all,
your first set. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
hate to interrupt this, but it's
no, go for it.
such a big pivotal thing. Like I think such a cool moment, like creating your first set. Whether it's
Mm,
2 songs, 3 songs, whatever it is. But yeah, what was it? It sounds like there was a bit of like I mean, you said an oh shit moment, but yeah, tell us about
yeah.
the feelings and what was happening, leading up to you creating this first set, and then what happened when you took it to the stage.
So I was like, okay, I need at least three songs.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, because my thing is, if all the sets I've done, the four or whatever I've done, I've always started off or at least done one poem in there. Because to me, it's like, okay, I've started from poetry. I'm going to do a poem either first,
Mm-hmm.
more of a rhymey, whatever, flowy poem. I'm going to do that. So I was like, okay, I want three songs or at least two songs and then poems. I'm going to fill it out poems. No, the first set I did poem, song, poem, song.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
wanted to like stagger it out because I only had two songs.
Big ups for
So
you
if
thinking that that was fine to do. Not that it isn't fine to do, but I think that's a good way to just get in there and be like,
yeah,
oh, wait, well, I don't have
exactly.
3 songs, so I'm not going to do a set. It's like, no, you've got a bunch of pieces, things to share with the
Yeah.
people. Do it.
So, um, and then yeah. So, first of all, when I was shit, and then I was like, oh, I need beats.
Hmm.
How do I get beats? And obviously, it'd never been a conversation that I had with any Vibe Uni members.
Right.
Obviously, that's how you got like Vibe Uni introduced me to the scene. I was like, well, how
Yep.
do I get songs, beats? And so I just YouTubed some beats.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I tried to find ones with less views, so it would be, less,
Obscure.
so
Yep.
obscure. And I found a couple, so, and I was like, okay, I'll just write over this, and spent time writing. And then I was like, oh, okay, I've written them now. Oh, I have to remember them now. And so I, because you can get away with reading a poem out of a
Mm-hmm.
notebook,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'll do whatever. And so I went up and I was on stage and I was like, okay, well, I'm here now. Everyone's looking at me. So I went up,
And
did my
wait,
first poem,
what's
and
that like for you? Explain your feeling. Yeah, yeah, the feeling of like being there, subject to all this attention, and kind of maybe feeling a little nervous about it. What's
ooh,
happening?
it's a I think for the first time was at Lyburn.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was like, well, I was very nervous because I remember, I think, yeah, nervous is because my first song, I forgot four lines.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, they're my favorite lines of the whole song.
Right.
But what I had learned before was the good thing about rap or any music is you can just go, I'm not going to do anything for four beats, and then you can get back into it. And so I did that,
Yep.
but I was annoyed at myself because I'm like, I wanted to finish the whole song,
Which is
and
good.
then
You got to be annoyed
yeah,
yourself. You
yeah,
made the
and I was
mistake. You're
and I was
learning.
like, but then because I had to style it out because the song finished, my lyrics finished early before the song, so then I
Mm.
was just like, okay, I'm just going to pretend I know how to dance, so let's do that. And then
Brilliant.
I did my next did a poem, which is fine. I read it, and then I did my other song, and I didn't mess up, but I think I was very stiff. I was just trying to. I was doing it, but I was still trying to go in my head. Okay, what are the lyrics? Next line, next bar, next four stuff, and then
Mm-mm.
yeah, it was, and then I sat down. I was like, I could have been better. So yeah, it was very nerve wracking, and then
This is
just
great because I was there. I watched it happen. I felt a lot of the stuff that you felt, but I was also extremely impressed with what you did. And regardless of like remembering things, like you wrote real shit to share with people, and like that translates even if you fucking only remember 60% of it or whatever. The fact that you're out there doing it is huge. It was your first time, so you got to give yourself like all the leadway in the world. You know, You didn't freeze in front of the people. You know what I mean? Like you should be so
Well, I
thankful.
thought it's
You know
kind
what
of
I
hard
mean?
to, yeah. So yeah,
But
um,
but going on that, okay, so because I was there for your first performance and I was there for your second performance, and what I remembered in the second performance, because I think that we briefly like talked a little bit after the first performance, and maybe the words of like seeking redemption either from yourself or myself was mentioned in some way, and articulated, and
yeah,
then so it would have been like another couple months, and then you had your second set. Is that right? Again, back at
yeah. I
Lyrebird.
think no, I think so. I had it near the end of January was my first, I think, from memory,
Yeah.
and then I did a. I think my second gig was at Bar Uso.
Yeah. So
Um,
yes, that's right.
yeah,
That's
because it
right.
was because I got a voice message from a mutha, and she was like, "Do you want to do a set?" And I was like, Live Bird's nice. I know we went at Live Bird. It's more nice, and I
Yes,
did,
familiar
yeah,
territory.
I did that set. I was like, well, I did the same thing. I changed the poems up because but I went on stage this time, and I remember going, I've got a couple of songs, but I've also got another couple of poems. That's just what I do. I started building that confidence up a little bit.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I'm doing poems. If you don't like it, basically fuck off. I didn't say that, but I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Yes, that's the tone.
And I did my two songs. I still had only two songs at the time. I was still trying to work on other stuff. I had the two songs, did my poems, and that night, Mono the Messenger
I was
had a
gonna
little
say,
chat. This is the
man.
first time.
I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna say he
first
was
time.
there,
And then
vibing,
I saw him.
watching you doing his
I
thing.
saw
I'm
him
so sorry.
freestyle, and I was like,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, no, he was. I saw him at the front because didn't know who he was at first, and then you guys were like, "That's Mono. He's an amazing freestyler and
Yes.
just overall amazing performer." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, cool, great. That's. I didn't mean nothing. I mean, cool. He's a great performer. I hadn't seen him, so I was like, okay, I can't say yes or
It
no.
didn't mean
I
too
saw him
much to
perform that
you,
night. I'm like,
but for me, like I
yeah,
saw him vibe with your stuff, and like even aside
yeah,
from that,
yeah,
I had seen the difference between, and I think what you did the first time was like fine and great, and I think
yeah,
you're already talented and you're talking some good shit. But you like in the second time like clicked into this more like confident character, and then I feel like you're just commanding shit, man.
yeah. Yeah, no, I said like when I saw Mono, because you guys were obviously he was a
Yeah.
pretty big deal in the scene, and I saw him vibe, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I saw him perform, he fucking killed it, and I went up to him, or we ran into each other outside,
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like, mate, you just like stop it, you're too good, blah blah blah. And then he was like, oh mate, like what you did tonight was really good. And I was like, oh, I screwed up a little bit, just that me
Playing it
being me.
off.
He's like, oh
Yeah.
no, it's all good. It's like, yeah, no, no. I think I screwed up a line or two in a poem, whatever. In a poem, I tried to remember,
Mm-hmm.
and it is what it is. And he's told me, no, mate, keep doing what you're doing. Like it's something different. I really enjoyed it. Like just keep doing. And I was like, okay, cool. So got that, and then
That's a big deal, man. I just
yeah,
want to like
then
hold you
sort
up
of
on that. I don't know.
okay,
Like, I guess every performer or hip hop artist has their own experience when it comes to like hitting the
yeah,
stage and some of their first times. But anytime you cop like some kind of compliment or like thumb up from anyone, mainly audience, let alone someone who is like Mono, who is he's not part of Vibe Union, the people who are like here to
yeah,
support you and be like, Jason, you're the best, you're
yeah,
the best, like,
yeah,
we're all there to help each other grow. But
yeah,
um, Mono is kind of a bit more clear cut in,
yeah,
I think, in terms of who he approaches and why, etc. And yeah, I think it's a real good check
yeah.
of, second gig, second set, man, and you're already getting the nod from some heads out there.
Yeah, I said it was. Yeah, I agree. It's always nice to. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have vibe in your
Do you know
man
what's
and
so
just go, mate,
funny?
you did really
I don't know
well.
if you know,
Um,
but with the
uh,
setup I've got now, I've got like a little Spotify thing like playing, and the music isn't like very loud or audible at all,
yeah,
but it shows tracks of people, and the track that just came up
yeah.
through this is "Bars, Bars, Bars" by Mono the Messenger. So fucking shout out
Oh,
for
jeez.
synchronicity. Can you believe
Uh,
it? He's
I had that
always
playing
there
all
and
along.
watching, man.
Um, oh, that's who's outside my window every night.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think having random people, like people outside the vibe union sphere,
Mm-hmm.
is always nice to have someone just come up to you and be like, really like that. I was really good. I really enjoyed what you did. Um, sort of just because it's nice to have support from supportive people, but sometimes just having a person you've never met or talked to once that doesn't know you at all come up
Right.
to you like, okay, well, I heard you for the first time and it was good. So, you know, it was nice.
That
I
is
still remember
nice.
it.
All right,
Mm,
so let's stop tooting your horn for a fucking second.
mm.
Um,
Okay.
and let's so you've worked on some sets. There's been a million holdbacks with the
Yeah.
whole COVID stuff. Are you
Yeah.
working on anything now? What are you working on, and what are you hoping to release or get onto in the next, couple months or leading up to Christmas? What's happening on your end?
So I commissioned a free beat from a Wrath,
Yeah.
Mr. Wrath, for
Yes.
a few weeks ago, and
Beautiful.
I wrote and performed that at the Floor Is Yours Vibe open mic a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
So I've got that. But for me, I said I don't have a recording set up at the moment.
Right. Right.
Working on it, I'll get there one day. So um,
What
once I'll be able to go to
what
someone's
what are
house
what are the
and
missing
so
parts of your equation at the moment? I'm curious. Are you just missing like an
um,
interface and a mic? Is that it, or
yeah, pretty much
okay?
the bare bones of being able to
All right.
record over a beat and be
Well,
able
if there's
to
any
yeah. So
overly generous people on Twitch or YouTube, wherever I'm putting this damn thing, I've got some PayPal links. There's ways to subscribe through Twitch. If if something comes in through this period from this episode,
well, I
it's
mean, I'm open to.
towards the gear for Jason, man, because if that's the only thing that's stopping you from like getting down all of your stuff, we should all get on board with that because it's a damn travesty that your goods, and I've heard your goods. I've heard outside of lockdown recordings that you've done with Wrath in his studio set up there, and it's beastin', man.
Yeah, I was lucky to I did that just before we kind of hit some lockdown stuff. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I've got one that I did self-performed and that's all done. But obviously, did that, and then I've uh, I've I've asked him for another beat the other day.
yeah,
So still waiting on that gold. But I found a beat online, like just free random stuff.
yeah.
Call out Wrath. I'm still waiting. No, I'm joking. Um,
I'll talk to him on
it,
Thursday. Talk
no,
to him on Thursday.
it's
I will.
fine.
Oh, on the
People are busy,
stream.
and it's kind of
I know.
um, you don't want to hound someone. It's like that thing that you're giving me for free. Where the fuck is it?
Right.
Um,
You're
but no,
being a
it's
filthy
so
beggar.
yeah, yeah. So
So
I found a beat, and I was like, this is what I'm wanting to write, like this style, obviously. And so I've just found a beat, and I'm writing to that now. So I'm halfway through that,
okay.
and
So you're are you
yeah.
are you working towards like a an EP or like a 15-20 minute set? Like what's your kind of goal for the collection of
I was
stuff?
thinking that maybe so because my first three songs I did were to YouTube beats.
Yeah.
Like to me now they're live performance songs
Yeah, cool.
because they're YouTube beats.
Yep.
And so now I'm going to also have the a song I did through a sixpence beat. I did that for
Hey.
the Flourish, did a music video for that.
Yeah, yeah. Is that
I
up
did
on
that was that
SoundCloud or your YouTube?
No, I see all my stuff is just on my Instagram.
You should
Because
upload
I don't.
all these videos that you've been giving to the Floor Is Yours events and other stuff. You should put them up on your YouTube because honestly, they're meme worthy, but they're also dope pieces in their own right. So I think you should
Yeah,
really upload them for us.
I've been trying
Unless you
to.
delete every
I
good
up,
thing that you make, and then
no,
it's
no, I do. So like I do put some poems and stuff on YouTube every now and then, but like
yeah,
most of the stuff I've used Instagram for just solely creative stuff, and then I was like, once I get a better recording stuff, I'm
mm-hmm.
going to start doing Spotify because it's all obviously Spotify. It's all I was gonna say visual while holding headphones. It's all sound. So
Yeah, the best
I
quality
want
as possible.
I want a good sound.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to release things until it will come eventually.
yeah.
So yeah, I've got two, I guess, original beats and songs, and I've got one in the wings. To answer your question, is I'm hoping to at least once I can record in whatever form,
Yeah.
wherever,
Yeah.
to maybe try to get a EP out
Cool.
or something like that.
Awesome.
And have, yeah. So it's in the works, and at the time, at the moment, I've been a bit of a writing spree, and I mix
Okay.
between poems and music. So, because I MC Talking Blue Poetry Night, so I still write a poem for that. So I have a ton of poems. So I was like, well, I can also do a Spotify playlist of poems as well if I wanted to. Once I record, it's sort
That's a
of
good idea.
separate the two and have, diversify my music and my poems. And so at the moment on Instagram, I post sometimes videos, sometimes I just post pictures of and lyrics and whatnot. Sort of
You'd
just
be
a creative outlet or
surprised.
something.
You'd be surprised with the poetry community on YouTube and some of the hits that these subpar poems get on YouTube. And I feel like, you're working with some real heavyweight gold out here. So for you, if I was you, everything, all of these videos, because I've seen all the videos that you've like, offered up and made, and hopefully you've got them all in a folder ready to go. I would upload all of them to YouTube. I would tag them properly, and then I'd just put like one or two posts up on Instagram, being like, I've released a whole like series or collection of work on YouTube, and that just gives you some more space to like not worry about like I want to get these tracks done, but there's all these like limitations and blah 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 in the way of doing that. How can I continue to like have
Yeah.
momentum, offer stuff to people, that kind of shit.
Well, I said like, yeah, I've got a few a few videos, poetry videos on YouTube,
Okay.
but yeah, it's not a, it was just like I started doing that in like the 2019. It was more of a, I started doing writing stuff and uploading into Twitter. It was more of a frustration of the situation of what we were in, bushfires,
Mm.
and then COVID stuff happened early 2020, and it was just me trying to find a way to express frustration. So I
Mm-hmm.
put it on Twitter, and I mean, Twitter's not the way where to put videos. I know that, but I didn't really have an Instagram then. I
Right.
didn't want to do anything. So like, I mean, at the start of all that, my first video got 600 odd views.
It's huge.
My best video on Twitter. I mean, it's Twitter. I know it's not. It was 3,500 views on Twitter.
That's massive.
Um,
Well, the thing
no,
is,
no, but like, I did.
Twitter's weird for us, especially in Australia
Yeah.
as well.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people in Australia who use Twitter, but um, I think especially as like a platform for creatives and artists, it's
No,
like,
I know. Yeah, I didn't. It didn't correspond to anything. Like I didn't. I was just. I just wanted an outlet for my frustration,
yeah,
and so I
just
did it in
fucking
poems.
post
And
anyway.
it
Yeah.
was all political, and because it was all political stuff, and so I was like,
Mm,
this is the place for it, and it was getting good
good point.
engagement. But I didn't spruik my Instagram or anything like that because I didn't really have much of an Instagram. So now I
Mm,
am sort of moving off that. I mean, I still post on there every now and then, just like if anyone wants to listen to this, it's fine. But it's not solely, I don't use Twitter much for that anymore. It was just at the
yeah.
time I just wanted to express something somehow, and then once I sort of like obviously meeting and hooking up with Vibe Union and realizing more of the scene and everything, I've
Yeah.
started to gravitate towards more of a self promotion Instagram, more of a thing like that, and then moving on to eventually stuff on Spotify and whatnot. So
This is a
yeah,
brilliant segue because you've talked
okay.
about experiencing and seeing the scene. Jason, if you had to put someone on my digital Photoshop map, which will manifest something that looks a bit more like this, so it's going to be a combination of like, I guess, a digital element, but then artists on the map in the right areas, and then trying to like make like clickable profile zoomy any thingies. That's long term. But if you had to put somebody on the map, and maybe they're
Ooh,
already on the map and we might have to pick somebody else, but if you had to pick somebody local in Melbourne that you've experienced out and about doing their thing that you really like, who would you put on the map? MC or producer can be both.
oof. Well, um, so yeah, my thing is that my scope and spectrum of performers and rappers and stuff is limited outside of Vibe Union, but I've seen a few.
Mm-hmm.
But one comes to mind. It was actually coincidental. Is I got a message from them today. I've seen them. They've done some spoken word stuff on my live streams. My live streams on the Talking Blue stuff, and they're always talking about releasing a song.
Uh-huh.
He sent me a message today, and he was like, "Check it out if you want, have a look." And so on Instagram, it's JEH unofficial. His real
Cool.
name is Jason.
Yeah.
Jason.
Another damn Jason. So
And he
Jason
said,
recommends Jason.
"Yeah, I know.
Is that a
Um,
purely Jason thing? What's happening here?
yeah. It's only because his name's Jason. He sent me his song on Spotify today, actually,
Yeah.
out of all things, and I had to listen to it, and it hits. I think yeah, J.E.H on Spotify.
Cool.
He to me the flow hits hard. It it's the lyrics are to me. I like in depth and hard hitting lyrics. I also like a catchy hook and the Milky Bar Kid as well. But
Appreciate that. But yeah, so
but to me,
JH kind
yeah,
of supplies all of that.
yeah. I said this. It's only yeah. He just released a song and he's been doing some lyrics on Talking Blue in spoken word form and listened to it today and yeah.
It holds
Uh,
up. Beautiful. So,
uh,
do you know which side of Melbourne he's in? Like, is he north, south, east,
I
west? Who
that's my
knows?
my thing.
That's fine.
I do not know.
That's
Yeah.
super fine. He's on the map, and what'll happen is like we'll get to a day where I've got a whole lot of people on the map. I'm not sure where they are, and I'll figure out where they're located, and it will apply it appropriately. But he's on the map. He's got a track right, which is TU2.
Yeah. To
Um,
to you,
Give me a tick. What I'm going to do on Discord, so jump into Discord for a tick. I'm going to send you an invite to listen along with me. And then how
yeah.
about we
Okay.
listen to his how do you pronounce the artist name? Is it just JEH
I've
or who
J
knows?
JEH. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I said I've been known him as Jason, so he's introduced himself. Like I know his name is
Okay.
Jason. So
All right, so we'll
he's
play Jason's track to kind of almost play us out. But maybe afterwards we'll just have a quick like powwow about the track and then we'll do a
yeah.
little sign off. But give me a
Sounds good.
tick. I'm going to invite you to listen
All
along to
good.
Spotify. Let me know if that comes
Okay.
up.
Yes, you have. So this.
Does that come through at all, my friend?
It's up there.
Okay.
Yep, it's connecting.
So is your Spotify app open right
Connected your
now?
Spotify account to Discord. No. It said it's connected, so
Okay. Do you have control over the volume in your
Spotify.
Spotify? And is it playing Mixed Thoughts at the moment?
Do I have Spotify? Do I have Spotify on my
On your computer, maybe not.
laptop? No, maybe I don't know. I thought I
Okay,
did.
that's all right. Oh, well, what we'll do, we'll kind of like sign off, and I'll let the song play out towards the end, and I guess maybe then you
Yeah,
can
this
flip.
yeah. See, I'm
Maybe
still
maybe
learning
then you
everything.
can flip to the
Um,
Twitch stream and put that up, and then you can listen through that. How about that?
okay.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh dear.
Jason, man, I felt like we got real grounded today. I felt like we had a good powwow. What do you
We
reckon?
did. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think so. We dug deep. We went into well, we went from nihilism to lyricism. Oh,
Yes.
look at that. So
Oh,
I think it was a nice curve. I don't know.
I
It
think it
was
was a great
a
curve
good
too.
journey.
I've always
It was a
appreciated
good journey.
curves,
I
not
think.
only on women, but in real life. On the,
Settle down.
I know. Okay, I'm a
Um,
little
yeah,
excited. I've been
real lyrics have curves. Yeah.
yes,
Um,
they've got a gradient to it. Absolutely. Um, any final words, like anything that we should look out from you on your end, or anything that you want to plug or talk on for a tick?
I mean, if you want to check out my Instagram, that's about it at the moment. That's where
Okay.
most of my stuff is.
Yeah.
If you're interested, and then I'm gonna start evolving stuff when I can evolve when I need to and can. So you
Cool.
know,
Let's all help this
that's about
Pokemon reach its full
it.
fulfillment. Thanks again, my dude. We're gonna play this track out. So
Thank
if you
you.
want to jump
All right,
onto the Twitch stream, we'll listen there,
sounds
and then
good.
we'll DC it. thanks again for joining me. Also, with this
All right.
episode and all episodes of Grounded, they will be re-uploaded to YouTube. You can catch little clips and snippets on my Instagram, Dilly Dave. And Thursday, the next episode, double stream on Thursday. I
Double.
believe at 4 o'clock. Sorry, 4 o'clock we got Wrath, 4 to 5 o'clock, and then at 4:45 onwards we got Fungai, who's self-proclaimed coolest rapper ever. So it's gonna be a
Oh.
wild ride.
Nice.
All right, Jason,
All right.
aka username unknown. Thank you so much. I'll catch you on the other
Thank
side,
you.
my dude. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Back at square one, wanna square up. 101 ounce, want a piece, wanna uppercut a cunt and peace out. Wanna dry these dishes with a tea towel. Wanna lay down, want a bitch that wants to go to Pound Town. Wanna cry now, wanna know if I'm lowbrow or highbrow. Dinner time, ready to chow down. Kumita and pork bones, probably from the dog food aisle. Only one the doughboys rolling around in style. Holding Commodore with the windows down. Nothing to be proud about, but we still proud. Hot chips in my lap from the fish shop. Could we go with a $2 shop wristwatch and those fake Euro cards we don't talk about? Cause that was real to me. What are you talking about? Talking shit, what's that coming out of your mouth? You get hit with a pow pow. I ain't acting hard, I ain't no Metapod. I'm a Charizard, gotta make it click. Cause we're going 250 down McDonald's
Pokemon.
Road. And there's no cops out, we rolled up a joint to smoke while rolling up a countdown. Get some munchies, a DVD, a video wheezy. Those hot chips with cheesy wheezies. And I probably have the carbohydrates to knock out a fat cow. Like the Go Izzy, Skull of grape flavored budget fizzy. Sorry you caught me reminiscing in a lockdown. Ain't it funny that my dad's in Mount Eden, the same place that my ancestors were in prison? This isn't the world the Prophet Ruah envisioned. There's people poisoned by an addiction, it's sickening. Communities riddled with methamphetamines, a deadly disease. The white man is pleased at his creation. Father and son relation, ships threaten broken families. Young kids age of 3 thrown up seas in the hood like it means something, but all it means is his brainwashing is indeed working. To lower ourselves from the great culture that we once was to fit a depiction. Once was fact has become fiction. That was always the missionary's mission. Forget the old gods, there's only one God and we were made in his image. But I feel like Tafiri Matia with the wind, thunder and lightning. I'm sure it's frightening to see me in his image. The second oldest son of Rangi and Papa. Second to Matuenga. If he had his way, we would have never seen the light of day. Every day I pray to Tane Mahuta for holding up the sky. Cause Tane Nuitera shines so bright. Thank Maui for the islands. It's slowing down the tide we call the sun to make the day last longer. See, I used to think this was mythology until I started studying the ancients. I'm a born again Maori. Thank you too for the patience. We believe in you again. You can come out of hiatus. Come out of hiatus, G. We believe in you again.
Thank you everyone for joining me for another episode of Grounded. It's Dilly Dave. Bloody stay well.